So, quick question. Miss Nice Lady with the purple vest. Hey, how many movies do you watch a week? Yeah. Great. This gentleman coming up is 51 movies shy of his 2,000th movie. Yes, and he has a thing, he keeps track of them, right? And I asked him, let's do a test. Of the 1,949, right?
48.
That's this year? Yeah, no, it was last week. Yeah. The question is, I asked him, what was his favorite movie? You get 2 guesses. Anybody? All time. What do you got? Oh, stop cheating. Oh, y'all are worthless. Okay, first of all, amazing movie, Escape from New York. What, Avengers?
No, I said A New Hope.
New Hope. No. It is The Truman Show. How do y'all feel? Y'all okay with that one? All right, you get to go with that one. As you can tell, he loves Star Wars, right? But we had a slight discussion. He is wrong when he said that The Phantom Menace was not the biggest waste of film ever to be created. It was awful, bruh. It was, no, you keep saying it's, oh, right, it was awful.
I didn't say it was a good movie.
No, not good. Miso think it stinks. It was awful. Painful. Went to sleep. All right, but other than that, this dude's cool. Anybody who shows up in The Mandalorian with, is it Grogu?
Baby Yoda?
No, I'm supposed to say the real name, Grogu. Grogu?
It is Grogu.
Man, shut up. All righty, ladies and gentlemen, bang your hands together for Mr. Michael Lamb.
Thank you, Kenneth. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Thank you, Kayla and Richard. I love Magnolia Conference. It's a lot of hard work to put this together. I'm very grateful for their efforts. This is kind of a full circle moment for me. The first Magnolia Conference, I kind of tricked Kayla into speaking by telling her that I would also submit a talk, and I never did. So here I am to make good on that promise. The topic that I'm talking about today is static site generators. Is anybody here familiar with the concept of static site generators? We got a lot of you. So for this, for you, none of this is really going to be new. For anybody who doesn't know what a static site generator is, it takes input and then it spits out HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So the input for my blog is Markdown content. I love writing in Markdown. We'll dive a little bit more into that. But what you're looking at right now is a local instance of my blog. This is how I write my blog posts and check them out. And we're gonna get started here. I wrote this blog post, it's not published, it's just for you guys. Before I dive into my talk, I have selected a poem that I would like to read to you. This poem comes from Walt Whitman's Inscriptions and is called To You. Stranger, if you passing meet me and desire to speak to me, why should you not speak to me? And why should I not speak to you? That comes from 1860. And for me, that poem is just about taking the chance, the opportunity to learn something new about somebody else, to connect with somebody else. I think that's what a blog offers you. So I do have some slides. I'll work through those. I did not start them. Here's the outline for how these slides are going to go. It'll be pretty quick. We'll spend a few minutes in the slides, and then we'll dive into a guided tour of the blog. So my name is Michael Lamb. As I said, I do have almost 9 years of experience at C Spire. Shout out to my C Spire coworkers in the back row. At C Spire, I'm a part of C Spire Gaming and a group called C Spire IO. Gaming is a gaming club. We use it for employee engagement. We also use it for recruiting. If we've got people that are interested in working at the company, gaming club is a great place for them to get to see other people, what they're like outside of work. I/O is our internal developer meetup. I'm actually going to be missing the conference tomorrow so that I can go and run one of those events. So sorry, but I'll be here tomorrow afternoon. 6 years ago, I started a film club. Kenneth didn't ask me, but this year I'm averaging 9 movies a week. But I've slowed down here in the last couple weeks to prepare for this talk. This is actually my first talk in a conference. I think you'll be able to tell. In 2023, I had the privilege of being a part of the Leadership Greater Jackson program, cohort 35. The program connected me with a bunch of other professionals in the area. We got to go through different cultural engagements. Some of the events were here at the Art Museum. Other places were incarceration places. We talked with judges. Got a tour of the 911 center in downtown. So if you've never heard of Leadership Greater Jackson, I think you should look it up. And if you're interested in getting involved in something like that, I'd love to talk with you and recommend it. And then for a little more than a year, I've been the one responsible for Jackson developer meetups, or the reason why they aren't happening. That's my bad. But my experience with the internet and with blogging, I would say dates back to when I was a teenager on the internet. GeoCities, people might say, is not necessarily a blog platform, but that's kind of how I was using it. I created little websites and treated them like journals. Eventually I discovered Zanga, and that was definitely a blogging platform. In college, I spent a lot of years in college for many reasons. One of them was switching majors from English to software engineering. Don't recommend doing that. But I use Blogger, Posters, and social media is blogging. I don't really care what anybody else says. You're writing posts and you're sharing them with other people, and there's ways to interact. So that's blogging. When I became a professional, I started writing more on Medium, but learned that I didn't really like the paywall structure, and didn't quite understand how to really maximize the engagement on that platform. But I did like the experience of writing on Medium. And I found Ghost, which is a CMS. You can also use it for like a backend for a static site generator. That's not what I do, but it was fun to use it for a while. I wrote a lot more just creatively. I didn't write much technical. Until 2021, that was when I decided to relaunch my blog and really dive into some more technical content. So my approach to writing blogs is threefold. The first thing is I'm always going to be writing for myself. I have referenced my own blog posts plenty of times, and that's on purpose. I write that stuff so that I don't have to remember it. When you're writing for other people, that content is obviously going to be focused more on information that is relevant to other people. But for me, the biggest thing that I want to do when I'm sitting down to write is I want the next sentence I write to be true. So my biggest advice is only write what you know. If you don't know something, that's fine. You can admit that, but don't write things you don't know. A little bit about the infrastructure of my website. I use GitHub Pages to deploy and run the website. I have an identity landing page that's hosted on Card. I have Cloudflare, that's my DNS provider, but they're also running a couple proxy servers for me. And then I use Grafana Faro for front-end observability. Like I said before, I love writing my content in Markdown. There's some other stuff with the content that we'll dive into in the tour. Now, Um, oh, my IDE is down here. I want to show you my IDE. This is what I'm looking at when I run my blog. Here, I'll stop it and start it for you. It's a single line to get the blog started. It'll take about 25 seconds to generate all the posts. But with Jekyll, you're using Ruby. I use the GitHub Pages gem for compatibility with GitHub Pages. And I've also installed the Jekyll admin plugin. And what that does is it lets me have this little admin interface. So you can go to localhost in the port where your blog is running, and /admin, that'll bring up this interface. You can write posts in here, you can manage the pages, see configuration. It's a nice little UI for writing if you don't want to just do everything in the IDE. This does mean that I need my notes down here. When this blog post is published, you'll see I've got a link to slides here. Those are the slides there. We've already covered Jekyll admin. Let's talk a little bit about local drafting in development. So often I'll come in here and just start writing in here. I like having this interface, and I also like just going full screen. I like whenever I can get distraction free. And this has all of the editing tools that you need. But since I already have a post started, we'll just look at that. And then here we're able to add, you can manage your front matter in the UI. For me, I find it's easier. I have a template. With the post front matter that I will use commonly, I'll just copy and paste that and then edit it in the UI. And then an important feature for me was being able to get markdown that was consistent. And I also wanted to have some automation checks for SEO. I use Jekyll SEO to provide social share images. So for every blog post that I make, I also have to create an image for SEO. And I have some Git hooks that help me with this CI. So I have a pre-commit Git hook that checks the files that are changed. It will lint the markdown using markdown lint CLI2. Basically, if anything comes back from that, then markdown linting fails, and it'll print out all the stuff that went wrong. So then I go in and fix that. That's pre-commit. I haven't even made a commit that has bad stuff, so I don't have to fix anything in a commit later down the road. My pre-push Git hook it runs a little Ruby script that just checks and makes sure that there's an SEO image. That script is a little more complicated. I don't want to intimidate anybody. You don't necessarily need to know how any of that works. It just checks the front matter and detects if there's a reference to the image file, and then it also checks the SEO directory and makes sure that that file exists. GitHub Actions. This is the CI file. This goes through all the install steps. It also double checks, or it runs the same CI stuff that I'm running locally. That's just for sanity checks. If somehow something bad gets pushed up, because I'm not always going to be making changes in this environment. Sometimes I'm just going in on GitHub and fixing a typo, but I still might make a mistake that the markdown linter gets, and so that's why those same steps are included here in the CI. So whenever changes are pushed to GitHub and before it's deployed to GitHub pages, I can know that the markdown has been linted and that the SEO images are verified. That's, I think, pretty much all that I had to cover. I think that a static site generator is really useful for this type of blogging. It's also useful if you're interested in web development and are maybe intimidated by new frameworks. Static site generators are, they've been around for a while. They're tried, tested, and true, and they're widely supported. If you don't want to be locked into GitHub pages, you could deploy a similar thing to Cloudflare, or GitLab does a similar thing with GitLab pages. So there's lots of different platforms that you can use with a static site generator as your blog. All right, we've talked about Jekyll admin, local drafting, the CI/CD. There are some alternatives to Jekyll. I like Jekyll, but there's Gatsby, Hugo, and Eleventy. I'm not saying anything bad about them. There's just plenty of documentation for Jekyll. I've never run into anything that I couldn't fix. And I think that was really short, but like I said, this was my first talk.
Oh, great job, man. This was your first two? This was your first one?
It was.
Awesome. We got two newbies. Give it up for the newbies, guys. It's amazing. It does. It takes a whole bunch of courage to get that.